While the first cock crow echoed across Umuagu village and hard-working men rose from their raffia beds to sharpen hoes and prepare for the farms, Okoro pulled his faded blanket over his head and curled himself tighter like a giant child hiding from responsibility. The villagers had grown so used to his laziness that even the roosters seemed personally offended by him. Every morning they crowed directly outside his mud house as though they were village elders sent to awaken his dead spirit. But Okoro would simply groan, turn to the other side and mumble, "A beg, let the sun shift small. Morning came too fast today." Inside the tiny one-room house, his wife Ngozi was already awake before dawn, sweeping the compound, boiling water, feeding goats, and pounding yam with enough force to wake ancestors. Sweat rolled down her face while her husband snored like a generator with fuel problems. Sometimes she stood at the doorway staring at him in disbelief, wondering how one human being could sleep with such dedication. She had married him hoping he would someday become responsible, but each year he only became more committed to resting. By the time Okoro finally stretched himself awake, usually when the sun was already hot enough to fry plantain on stone, Ngozi had finished half the work in the village. He would yawn dramatically, scratch his stomach and ask innocent questions like, "Wife, what are we eating this morning?" As though he had spent the night digging wells for the community. Ngozi often felt anger rise inside her chest, but she swallowed it because she still loved him despite his foolishness. Unfortunately, the rest of Umuagu village did not swallow anything. Under the great Udala tree where women gathered every afternoon, Okoro was the #1 topic. Mama Ebra would slap her thigh and announce loudly, "That man can sleep inside thunderstorm and still ask for pillow." Another woman would add, "Ngozi is carrying marriage on her head like firewood while her husband is carrying sleep like a newborn baby." The gossip spread everywhere. Even children mocked him openly. Whenever he walked past, they pretended to snore loudly and fall onto the ground. The village men laughed too. One farmer joked that Okoro was the only person who got tired from resting. One morning Ngozi finally lost patience. She marched to the bed, planted both hands on her waist and shouted, "Okoro, today you are following me to the farm whether your spirit likes it or not." Okoro blinked slowly as if waking from 100-year sleep. "Woman," he groaned, "my body is not strong today. My bones are weak. Even my eyes are tired." Ngozi refused to listen. She grabbed the raffia mat beneath him and yanked it away. Okoro crashed onto the floor with a loud cry, clutching his chest dramatically. "Chinik, my ribs. My ancestors are leaving my body." But Ngozi was beyond pity. She dragged him outside while neighbors peeped from their compounds laughing so hard some nearly dropped their buckets. An old woman shouted from across the road, "Drag him well. Maybe hard ground will wake his sense." At the farm everyone worked seriously beneath the hot African sun. Men cut weeds with sharp machetes while women planted cassava stems in neat rows. But Okoro stood there like a confused tourist. He bent sideways holding his back and complained every 2 minutes. "My neck is paining me. My left leg is vibrating. Even my nose is breathing too hard." Nobody answered him. Then, only moments later, he quietly disappeared beneath a giant mango tree at the edge of the farm. Within seconds he was fast asleep, snoring peacefully while others sweated in the fields. Passing villagers thought he was dead. One boy poked him with a stick. Okoro opened one eye slightly and whispered, "Don't disturb me. Sleep is also part of farming. It gives energy." Then he returned to his snoring as though nothing happened. When lunchtime arrived, Ngozi opened her basket of palm oil rice and smoked fish beneath the tree. Before the lid even touched the ground, Okoro suddenly appeared beside her like magic. The same man who claimed his body was dying now moved with the speed of a hunter chasing antelope. His eyes widened at the sight of food. "Ah, smoked fish. My spirit has returned," he shouted joyfully. He grabbed the biggest portion before anyone else could blink. Ngozi stared at him in disbelief. "Were you not half dead a few minutes ago?" Okoro nodded seriously while stuffing rice into his mouth. "Food is medicine, my wife." He ate with frightening determination, tears nearly forming in his eyes from happiness. 2 nearby farmers watched him and shook their heads. One whispered, "If this man used the same strength for work, he would own half this village." The other replied, "He would even become king." Weeks passed and planting season ended. Everywhere in Umuagu, farms turned green with healthy crops. Everywhere except Okoro's portion. His land looked abandoned by God himself because most of the season had been spent sleeping under trees instead of planting. During village inspection, the elders stopped before his empty farmland and sighed deeply. "Okoro," one elder said, "if laziness was a crime, you would never leave prison." The villagers exploded with laughter, but Ngozi lowered her head in shame. She worked harder than most men in the village, yet her husband had turned their marriage into entertainment for everybody. Then one night disaster struck the village. Dark clouds rolled across the sky and a violent storm erupted without warning. Thunder cracked like gunfire while furious winds ripped through rooftops. Villagers rushed outside, securing their homes with ropes and wooden planks. The chief shouted for everyone to protect their compounds before the storm destroyed everything. But inside his house, Okoro slept peacefully through the entire chaos. Even when part of their roof tore away and rainwater splashed directly onto his body, the man continued snoring like a satisfied baby. Ngozi screamed at him to wake up, but he only turned over and covered his face with the wet blanket. The next morning, while villagers repaired damaged roofs and cleared fallen branches, news spread that a wealthy businessman from Lagos had arrived seeking laborers for a massive cassava project. The entire village gathered excitedly at the square. The businessman promised good wages and bonuses for hardworking people. Men stood proudly holding their hoes, eager for opportunity. Then suddenly, to everybody's horror, Okoro pushed through the crowd and announced confidently, "Choose me. I am one of the strongest workers here." Silence swallowed the square. Even birds seemed confused. The villagers stared at him as though he had suddenly become possessed. But the businessman, impressed by Okoro's confidence, selected him along with 9 others. The following morning, the workers assembled at sunrise ready for hard labor. Everyone began clearing land, carrying heavy loads and digging furrows. Everyone except Okoro. Barely 30 minutes after work started, he located the biggest mango tree nearby, placed his hoe beneath his head like a pillow, and stretched himself comfortably on the ground. Soon loud snores filled the air. The businessman stared in shock. "Who is that sleeping?" he demanded angrily. The workers pointed helplessly. "Sir, that is Okoro. In this village we call him the Mattress Husband." Furious, the businessman marched toward the sleeping man. But before he reached him, a loud cracking sound exploded overhead. A massive mango branch snapped from the tree and crashed directly onto the spot where Okoro lay sleeping. Dust filled the air. Villagers screamed in panic. Ngozi dropped her basket and ran forward crying. Men rushed to lift the heavy branch while women wailed loudly, convinced the lazy man had finally slept into the spirit world. When the branch was finally removed, Okoro remained motionless for several terrifying seconds. Then suddenly he opened one eye weakly and whispered, "Please, is it time for food?" For one heartbeat nobody moved. Then the entire crowd erupted into uncontrollable laughter. People rolled on the ground clutching their stomachs. Even the angry businessman collapsed against a wheelbarrow laughing so hard tears filled his eyes. Ngozi herself began laughing through her tears. Only Okoro looked confused. "Why is everybody laughing?" he asked innocently while rubbing his head. When the laughter finally settled, the businessman wiped his eyes and approached him. "Young man," he said between chuckles, "you may be the laziest worker I have ever seen, but you are also the funniest human being alive." He reached into his pocket and handed Okoro a thick bundle of money. The villagers gasped loudly. "Take this," the businessman continued. "But please, before another tree finishes you, allow your wife to teach you how to work." Okoro stared at the money in disbelief. Then he slowly looked at the fallen branch beside him. For the first time in many years, fear touched his lazy heart. He imagined what could have happened if the branch had landed differently. He imagined Ngozi suffering alone because of his foolishness. Something inside him shifted quietly. He stood up slowly, picked up his hoe without being forced, and said softly, "Maybe sleep has nearly carried me to my grave. It is time to wake up." The villagers watched in stunned silence as Okoro walked back toward the field willingly. Ngozi's eyes filled with tears. She hugged him tightly and whispered, "Thank God the tree had mercy on you." From that day forward, Umuagu village slowly witnessed a miracle nobody believed possible. Okoro began waking up early, At first, villagers thought he was sleepwalking when they saw him carrying hoes at sunrise. Some even touched him to confirm he was real. But day after day, he continued working beside his wife in the fields. He still joked often and still loved food more than anything, but little by little the mattress husband transformed into a hardworking man. And whenever children asked him why he changed, Okoro would point dramatically at the mango tree and say, "My children, laziness is sweet until tree branch wants to discuss future with your head."